Cancer, 16 rounds of chemotherapy, multiple surgeries, feeling alone, feeling isolated. Those are the things that I felt while I was going through cancer. Those are the things that someone is feeling today. One Tough Cookie is here to help. Cancer, 16 rounds of chemotherapy, multiple surgeries, feeling alone, feeling isolated. Those are the things that I felt while I was going through cancer. Those are the things that someone is feeling today. One Tough Cookie is here to help. Cancer, 16 rounds of chemotherapy, multiple surgeries, feeling alone, feeling isolated. Those are the things that I felt while I was going through cancer. Those are the things that someone is feeling today. One Tough Cookie is here to help. Cancer, 16 rounds of chemotherapy, multiple surgeries, feeling alone, feeling isolated. Those are the things that I felt while I was going through cancer. Those are the things that someone is feeling today. One Tough Cookie is here to help. Cancer, 16 rounds of chemotherapy, multiple surgeries, feeling alone, feeling isolated. Those are the things that I felt while I was going through cancer. Those are the things that someone is feeling today. One Tough Cookie is here to help.
Hi, my name is Phil, and I am the President and CEO of Phoenix National Network. Question: are you missing all the shows on Phoenix National Network? Well, I tell you, not anymore. Download the app today on your Apple, Android, cell phone, or mobile device. Catch all your favorite local programs from all your local entrepreneurs and churches. It is nothing to miss. Download the app to learn more just by typing in Phoenix National Network on your app or Droid store. Click below for more information, and we will see you on the platform. Don't miss it. It's there for your benefit.
What superhero do you relate to most? I'm so curious. Why? Each of us has our own innate nuclear power. It's God-given. And yet we're all out here wondering, searching, forgetting, and suppressing. I know I was. It's okay. No judgments here. But I am going to get real. As a life and career coach, it's kind of my job. And you chose the show, so no one is forcing you. But the force is real. And the question I really want to ask is, what's your superpower? I'm Sharon Davenport. I've been called a real-life Wonder Woman. This show is designed to activate you alongside other superheroes. It's time that you arise, put your cape on, and fly.
Hey, welcome, Oscar. We had a quite commercial break.
It's Murphy's Law Wednesday. Anything that can go wrong is still going wrong. But
hey, no, you know what? It's Hump Day. It's called Hump Day for a reason. You have to get over all the humps, right? But we're here, and that's what matters. Right?
Sure,
that's what matters. We are here. So we have a great program ahead for you. We have a great guest, Christina Heike, and can't wait to hear everything that she has to share with us today, because it's going to be amazing, some of the things we learn about just our behaviors, right? Right, Oscar? I mean, she was on our group meeting yesterday, our Power Up lunch meeting, and just some of the things that she shared with us was incredible. That her story is incredible. And so can't wait for us to get to that. We don't have much ahead of us. So first, we're just going to talk about our PNN update. And then we're going to go straight into our interview. And we're going to share a video that we did during our motivational moment yesterday that I thought was also, we didn't even get a chance to really discuss it, right, Oscar? But we're going to take a few minutes just to kind of like nail down some of the strong points from Les Brown in that video. It was just really powerful. And we want to share that with our audience. So here we go. First, let me give you a quick PNN update. All right, so here's what that looks like. We are definitely going to be on Spotify next year, starting in January, and we're looking forward to being able for you to listen to a lot of our programs that we've done. We've been doing this since the beginning of 2020, and now it's in full bloom. We are literally on almost every platform that you can think of, Spotify being a great accomplishment for us, and also Apple Podcast. We should be on there as well. So some great things are happening, and we're very excited about moving forward into all these different areas. So look out for us, like and share, tell your friends about what we're doing, because it's just going to be so much fun. To have all these local entrepreneurs and people that you can learn from. You can actually get some information that is going to help you, not just brain candy, that's just not going to do anything for your future or for your life. So that's why we are here, because when you win, we win. And we know that based on experience. If we help each other, then we help ourselves. What do you think, Oscar?
Yeah, what do we say? Save yourself time and money. Hire the expert. If you try to DIY it, It's going to take longer, and then you're going to still have to hire the expert, but you've lost time and money trying to do it yourself.
Absolutely. And of course, it's what, Giving Month or something like that, where
Something
you
like
get to
that.
give your favorite charity. And so it was Giving Day yesterday, Giving Day. So just want to make sure you guys know we support One Tough Cookie. They have a goal. They have to reach a certain goal by a certain time in order to get bags for young children who are struggling with cancer. And so we want to help them to reach their goal. You can actually go to our app, Phoenix National Network app. You saw the ad for it. It's right here as well. Download the app, Phoenix National Network. It's in both app stores, both for Apple and for Google. So you want to make sure you're in both of those so that you can donate to One Tough Cookie and support them, help them to reach their goal. Wonderful cause, great people. I'm all in for it. Right, Oscar?
Absolutely.
Yeah. All there. Okay, now for our featured guest, I'm going to ask Oscar to do the honor of introducing her.
Surely. So I met Christine probably about I'd say over a month ago. And you know, like you and me, Phil, we hit it off. She is an incredible person. A background of her, she's a holistic mental health coach. She's a keynote speaker. I think she has a bunch of master's degrees. Born in Berlin, and she went through her story, which was amazing. She's probably going to go through it again and amaze more people. Just the power of overcoming obstacles and what you can do, again, with the help of an expert on overcoming the obstacles that you according to what I've talked to her about, we have obstacles that we don't even know we have. We have the ones that all right, this happened to me and that happened to me, but through her work, she's able to uncover some deep-seated limiting beliefs, and it's probably not just your limiting belief, according to her and experts like Bruce Lipton. It's generational problems. So it's going to be a wonderful talk. Can't wait to get back into this conversation, because we basically just started it yesterday, and there's so much more to talk about. I think that's the introduction.
Okay, all
Without
right.
doing her whole story, I think let me just do a little bit of it.
Here we go. Hi,
All
Christina.
right. Hi, Phil. Hi, Oscar.
We can hear you. You can hear us.
I can hear you now. Yeah, tech is always an adventure, right?
Take that, Murphy.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on, Heike. This is a great honor. I'm just in hearing your story yesterday, I feel like I've got a little better understanding of just getting to know you and what you do. But I would love for you to just kind of like tell the folks a little bit about who you are. Just a little bit about that story about who you are.
Get the whole story. Don't leave anything out.
A little bit of the story.
So good.
What, you want to hear the story again?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh my God. Well, I thought I'd done this yesterday, but okay.
Well, this is a whole new show, a whole new audience.
This is a whole new show. So let me just make sure that because as I said, the tech has been a bit of a challenge now that with StreamYard and all of that. So let me just try to get this sorted. Just a second. See, I want to say forgive me, and that's kind of the core of my work, right? There you go. There you go. We all need a lot of forgiveness from others and for others. No kidding.
You know, if the perfection is something that we will always pursue but never achieve. You know, So we always have to learn and just keep moving. That's how this works.
It's called go with the flow.
Well, I think that's slightly different, slightly a little bit different, but it's a good concept in at least some areas as well, for sure. But if you want the whole story, I would want to pull this up for you. And of course, after all the tech glitches, this is a little embarrassing. Shame is also a great topic in my work, right? We have it all right here.
This all leads to what you do.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Oscar. I have like a lot of clearing to do after this.
Just leave it up to us. Leave it up to us. We like to just put it all out there.
Don't worry, there's only thousands of people watching all around the world. Do not let that affect you at all.
Fantastic. That makes me feel so much better. And
that is not right.
That's not right, is it?
Okay, so now I can give you the whole story if you would like to hear that again. Yeah?
Yes, we would love to.
Because,
and I'll be quiet now.
Oh, that's so unlike you. Come on, Oscar.
No, I'll keep talking. I'll just shut off my mic so you can't hear me.
Wouldn't that be great in life sometimes, right? If we could just like turn off the mic and then we're like.
I wish that all the time.
I've tried to use the volume control on my wife. I just get things thrown at me. So that does not work.
Well, on others is even harder, Oscar. Yes. We can't we can't do much on other people at all unless they really want to do it themselves. So if we're lucky, we are able to change something in ourselves. Not if we're lucky, if we're determined, actually, not lucky. Yeah,
well,
but
my wife says I don't listen to her or something like that.
Okay. Well, we can do this maybe in a session. Topic.
That's a whole separate session. But go ahead, Christina.
Oh
share with us your story, please.
So I just to really we all have our stories. I believe that all of us come here with a story and a purpose and some baggage that have the opportunity to work through if we choose so. Not all of us choose that, right? And for me, it was very clear from early on. It was clear I had to work through stuff. So in order to be true to myself, true to my soul, and in alignment. Okay, so today I share my story. And this is a story of the birth of the Heike Wonderful method. That's what I call the container I hold all these gold nuggets in. How everything is wonder has hope, and I learned that the hard way through my own experience. I was born and raised in West Berlin, which supposedly is a free part of the two Berlins after the Second World War. But in reality, West Berlin was the part that was surrounded by the wall. And you had only 3 transit routes to get out. You had to cross the socialist border checkpoint, which especially during vacation time, like school vacation, when everyone wanted to get out, you could wait for hours in order to get through. Actually, 1 to enter the transit route and then 1 to exit again. So it was quite something. You usually wouldn't leave Berlin over the weekend. So imagine Manhattan surrounded by a 5-meter high wall, a death strip separating it from a totalitarian power on the other side. I lived in the Cold War zone, right smack in the middle of it. I also lived in a hot war zone in my family home. My parents, both children in the Second World War, had accumulated so much trauma from the bombings, hunger, being refugees, and had not been taught how to work through any of this. It wasn't the time yet that these things were even known or spoken about. It was a time when people still thought of babies more like objects that didn't yet understand anything. And such was the understanding of my parents. So when I cried outside of the prescribed 4-hour feeding rhythm, my crib was pushed into the kitchen and the door closed. This was a creative breeding ground for the Heike Wonder Feel method. It is based on my personal journey, the feelings of fear, neglect, abandonment, of absolute despair and loneliness, which was even harder than the physical punishment. And the way through all this, building resilience and feeling wonder again. Even back then, I tried to understand why my parents behaved the way they did. I coped with people pleasing, rebellion, disconnecting from my parents, and even worse, disconnecting from myself. By the time I was a teenager, I hated them both. I didn't feel I belonged at all. Our family looked actually like a normal academic middle class family on the outside. But on the inside, it was a different story. My parents struggled with their mental health, with alcoholism, narcissism, codependency, and numbed anxiety of that immense pressure in this household with antidepressants. It felt like constantly walking in an emotional minefield. I was definitely not in a wonderful spot. I began manifesting physical symptoms, heavy migraines, and serial infections. A great turning point happened when I was 12 and went to church school. We had an amazing pastor. She was super progressive. She brought in yoga and breath work, natural skincare classes, and I took them all. I loved them all. They resonated deeply with me. And that gave me glimpses of wonder feel. From then on, I would actively look into healing modalities and train in what had worked for me. I collected the puzzle pieces to the Wonder Feel method. Still looking for that secret key, like like a couple of decades later, that would unlock my emotional blocks that were hijacking my life. I came to the US. And that's where I met Dr. Candice Blakely and started working with her. It made all the difference. I finally felt a sense of freedom, a brightening of my life. And again, from the outside, you would not have thought it. That's my internal, that's my felt experience. From the outside, I was very successful. I studied, I had 2 master's degrees, I became a teacher. Everything seemed fine, but I didn't feel fine. I learned a powerful forgiveness technique called New Decision Therapy and relocated to New York City to work closely with Candice, my teacher, mentor, and soon to be close friend. I believe also New York, with its vibrant, open energy, helped me to step out of my old patterns. I needed a different environment. Not everyone does. For me, it was helpful. Germany itself, I often describe as like a dark cloud hovering over it, with our history and the shame and guilt connected to it. It was pretty much like in my generation, it was drilled into us, that kind of guilt. People in New York are reinventing themselves over and over, and I really, really love that mindset. This work has allowed me to forgive my parents and myself and have a loving relationship with them. Much has shifted. I am blessed with a son. I also healed an autoimmune disease. And yes, life will continue to give me human experiences and allow me to grow if I choose so. And I have I've put my hand up high for growth this lifetime. As long as we walk the earth, we are not done. Do you want to feel better and better while maturing? Do you want to step into your wonder feel zone? The inborn feeling of knowing, of joy and connectedness. My calling is to share what helped me, and by now many of my clients, so they feel better and better. Because I think that's what connects us all, the wish to be happy, to love, and to live in harmony and peace. That's my gift to you, and the reminder that you can. It's your choice. Thank you for listening.
I loved hearing that story again.
Wow.
So as you were talking, I wrote down dysfunctional family. Everybody says, "Oh yeah, I came from a dysfunctional family." That's why I'm like, everyone's come from a dysfunctional family. That's the way families are. I don't think anyone has not come through a dysfunctional family. There's no such thing as a, all totally. It's
I agree. I agree. I would say like, and that kind of equates that all of us have some emotional blocks that I call trauma, right? A trauma doesn't have to be like a horrific thing. It could be the daily drip of not being seen or constantly criticized or constantly be like, oh, I think you can do this better, and not in a loving way, but in a pushing way. And so you will in your life have this belief that you always have to be better, and you can't satisfy this, right? Meanwhile, from like the outside, wanting to be better is a good thing, right? Like that's growth. But if it becomes a belief that runs the show, and you never, like, you're always discontent with yourself, then it becomes like like toxic to
But
yourself.
it's like there's so many things in your story. There's so many things in your story because I believe that there are people that would look at this program and they'll go, well, I don't know if I can relate, but let me tell you, let me be more specific in how your story connects with everyone. We all have a past, and our parents and our family has a past, and their family has a past, right? And it's amazing how interconnected all of those paths are when it comes to the present day person and the issues that you
Absolutely.
deal with, right? I heard somebody gave an example once. They said, it was, I think it was Oscar. He always gives these scenarios where there was a mice that was, they did a test on a mice colony, and they had the mom and dad mice was trapped in there in the box, and uh, they were never really let out of the box, right? They were, and every time they tried to get out, they would be slapped back down. So when they had kids, anytime the kids tried to get out, the parents, that nobody else had to do it. The parents would pull the kids down and say, "No, you can't get out." Right? When the parents died, the next generation thought it was totally impossible to get out, so nobody even tried.
Right. Right.
The thought about getting
That's
out was even
absolutely.
eradicated. So
Absolutely.
I think about it when it comes to us as human beings, the levels of discouragement that we receive, even just in from our parents, as far as some parents who just kind of like say, we have two extremes. I'm never going to do what my parents did, so I'm going to let my kids do whatever they want.
Well, that's
And
the 70s. I think we're over that one. Like I think
yeah.
that
Look
was
what we have because of that.
that was laissez-faire in the 70s. Yes, but it is true. There is this notion of like either going completely contrary to your parents, or going like being completely like adapted to how they did it and do it the same thing. It's interesting, actually. My brother is much more aligned with my parents than I am. So like it's yeah, and it's really interesting how people choose to do what they do, right? If some really like, and that also goes, so many thoughts, goes
Mhm.
to who I work with, right? I mentioned that expression yesterday, cycle breakers, people who are conscious, they want to change makers, creatives, um, and many of them are coaches, entrepreneurs, teachers of teachers, and leaders in their field. um, that's really the type of people. It's not necessarily like you heard me yesterday, like go a little, like I wasn't sure which group I should call on. And this is the group of people. If you're someone who really wants to break the cycle of ancestral beliefs and emotional blockages, hand-me-downs, that's who I want to work with.
So you can teach people to be the mouse that actually pushes the kids over the wall, like, go.
That doesn't sound, Oscar. That doesn't sound really cool either to me. Like, right?
Well, I'm saying you're breaking the cycle. You're not like, okay,
but no. I don't think that's breaking the cycle in the sense where, because here's the thing, and I'm going to use slavery as an example, right? When emancipation took place, you said to a group of trained slaves, okay, now you're free. Okay, what does that mean? Where do I go?
No concept. Yeah.
There was no educating them. There was no giving them tools to to progress, to get equal jobs. There was nothing. There were no tools given to them. It was just, okay, you're free now. Go do what you do.
Good luck.
Good luck. Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
And then the cage got smaller and smaller. So it's like just kind of getting out of the box isn't really helping. It's got to be a deeper. There's got to be a deeper transformation. And I'm gonna let Christina talk about that.
Yeah. I'm still wrapping my mind around this example with the box. I'm not sure if it's entirely
change the concept if it's not working
for me. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking about. So
I'm thinking what Phil is saying is we all come with our box, our limitations. And in his example, it came from generation of doing one thing and you only did that and you don't know anything else. And we're taught from a kid, and again, some well-meaning people put in limitations. Don't touch that. Don't go outside. Don't talk to strangers.
We do need limitations, or let's not say limitations. We need boundaries as a kid, and that kind of comes back. And let me just finish that thought. Comes back to your initial, your beginning sentence, your intro. I think all of us have some emotional baggage because childhood in itself is geared to that. Like, parents and kids are not equal. So there is a hierarchical imprint and input that is like saying no to things that and they need to kind of have friction with their boundaries to grow and all that. But that's not necessarily an altogether pleasant process, right? And depending on who the child is and how the parent communicates that stuff, emotional blockages are created consciously or unconsciously, in the first 7 years, pretty much unconsciously. And those are often the most tricky ones to get to.
Yeah, that's exactly those limits are put on you because you're 6 years old. You shouldn't be crossing the street by yourself. You shouldn't talk to strangers. But do we ever break out of that box? Now you're 60 years old, but you still don't want to talk to strangers. It's like, you need to get away from it. That was this set of rules for this age, but we're carrying those rules through our lives. We don't get that update on the software.
Well, exactly that. We carry many beliefs with us, and also many of what I called in my story the coping mechanisms that back then helped us to survive and to fit in and kind of be okay in that family system, however dysfunctional, but to save our skin to some extent. And and those are often the ones that keep us stuck in later life and keep us from actually being able to live what we wish for ourselves, what we dream of. Yeah. So we're in the end, we're kind of standing in our own way. So that's why forgiveness, not just for the others, but also for ourselves, for repeating the same story internally. Yeah.
Go ahead, Oscar. Go ahead.
When you talk about forgiveness, I don't know if our audience is old enough to remember that the famous picture of the girl in Vietnam that's had all her clothes burnt off and she's running, and that picture basically changed the war. And the American troops napalmed this village that they thought was just the enemy, and it was full of just regular civilians. And my wife, who is a teacher, went to a conference, and that woman came up to speak. She's the woman that was the 9-year-old girl in that picture. And she said she had relived that horror every day of her life until one day she says, I have to forgive the person that did this. I have to forgive myself and move on. And she basically found the pilot and saved his life because he was absolutely, devastated by what happened. He got his rules. He did what he's supposed to do. But when he found out what actually happened, he fell apart. And they would actually, I believe they would do lectures together. And it's all about forgiving. Let it go, move on with your life. And it's an incredible story.
It's an incredible story. And I want to just not to rain on that beautiful story. I want to make a mark for people who are deeply traumatized. Forgiveness does not mean
Permission.
Meeting up with the perpetrator. It doesn't mean to make things good again.
Right.
Okay, let's do talks together. Oh, hell no. For many people, that's not the case. Yeah. So I want to be really very careful there, because
Right.
forgiveness is also is a little overused, and I would even say abused at this point, right? We forgive everyone. Like there's a school shooting and whoops, we forgive you. I'm like, what? How on earth? That's impossible, right? Forgiveness is a deeper process. It's not happening in the mind itself, right? And so it's what we also call bypassing the real emotion. So that could be also a hindrance. Yeah, I just want to point it out. So the new decision therapy has a very structured way of organically really working with the emotional body of a person, and a 5-step forgiveness process. But it's not me saying what needs to be forgiven. It comes out of the person's history with their words and so on.
Now, do you find everyone's an individual, but do you find key things that 90% of people you work with, yeah, I see this, I've seen this before? Are there some key blocks that are basically generic to everybody?
It's an interesting question, because if someone is dealing with addiction or sexual abuse or childhood neglect or having lived in a war zone, I think what gets disrupted are key emotional states in a person: belonging, trust, connection. Those are things that are like feeling loved and seen and validated. Those are things we all crave, and it looks somewhat different for everyone in our story, but that's what key issues are underneath the event that happened.
Yeah, I want us to watch this. This is a prime example of what we're talking about on our program. Here we go.
Call twin fifth grader was identified mentally retarded, put back from the 5th grade into the 4th grade. It was very difficult to pick myself up each day, believing that this happened to children and my mother. I'm not trying to steal or rob from anybody. How did this have to happen to me? It was very hard. Here's what I want to say to you. You've experienced some hardships. Don't give up on your dream. No one could have convinced me by holding on, push, by continuing to run toward my dream. And one day, I will have my own talk show. It's a long shot, ladies and gentlemen, from Liberty City, an abandoned building on a floor. Never knowing my mother or father. It's a long shot. No training. But I kept running toward my dream. If you want to make your dream become reality, the people that are running at their dreams know that it's possible that you can live your dream, that it's necessary, that you're relentless, that you have a plan of action, that you are creative. The people that are living their dream of fighting winners, to people that are living their dreams are the people that know that it's, if it's going to happen.
Now, I get several points. I get several points from watching that. I get several ideas of what we were just talking about.
Amazing video.
But,
yeah.
Christina, what did you hear when you saw that video?
My sound was terrible, by the way. I don't know, but okay. I saw it yesterday, so I couldn't hear it fully now. He is someone. He is one of the cycle breakers. He is one of the change makers. He is hungry. He's hungry for something that he wants to bring into his life, right? Mm-hmm. And not everyone is that way. And I also don't want to make anyone wrong for not being that. Right? We are all different. So, but he is a person who doesn't want to stick with his limitations. He's constantly going for the next step, you know, and probably also for different perspectives to look at things. And I kind of would, you know, like at the end of the conversation, just also bring that back a little bit to recent events, right? Mm-hmm. Like, we've seen how different people have reacted in those last 2 years with that health crisis that was happening, and that was also a political crisis and a crisis of human beings, really. Like it was, you know, first and foremost, really like a loneliness epidemic that was created. And the mental health fallout from that is tremendous. Yeah. And I think it was very, you could think about yourself, you know, were you someone who had question marks? Were you someone who was like, wait a second, what happened? Why is this like this? Why is this mandated? Or why is this whatever curfew happening? Does it make sense? Are you someone questioning? Are you critical thinking? Are you coming up with creative solutions? Or are you rather satisfied with what is the
status quo?
The status quo, what is proposed to you by the media and so on, right? Mm-hmm. That's and we've clearly seen that we're very different as human beings.
You know, one of the most powerful things from that video was that he decided to choose a different mindset, right? And the only way to really change your paradigm is to really kind of focus in on how do I change how I think about things, right? And that process in itself is a deep-rooted one, you know.
Absolutely.
And it takes work. It does take work. It does take someone helping you through it. What were you going to say, Oscar?
And I think that's where Christine comes in. It's like, yes, I want to do this, but you don't see your limitations.
Well, and let me add something to that, right? You said it so well. He decided to change his mindset and to think differently about things. Mm-hmm. what about feeling differently about things? That's much harder to come by, right? And that's what I do, the connection of feeling and thinking, right? And actually, even like I always say, science and spirituality, because I think we're not isolated human beings, right?
It's funny. It's funny you say that, because Joe Dispenza says that feelings create chemical reactions in your body. So you can think something, you won't have a chemical reaction in your body. But if you feel it, there's a chemical. So you're basically saying you got to change your body's chemical makeup to get up past the thinking part that you
okay. So I think we're getting into the which one is first, the chicken or the egg, right?
It's integrating both. That's that's what I'm doing. Reconnecting, like what we're taught in childhood, and unfortunately in school. As a school teacher, I can say that system is so unfortunate, killing creativity in our kids. It's really unfortunate, because that's where the potential lies, in the connection of thinking and feeling, and the integration of thinking and feeling. And in school, we're feeding the mind. We don't do very much for the feeling body, right? Forget spiritual. And that's, I think, is really something where I'm actually pretty furious about that, right? Because I think we're taking something away that could be theirs, or has been theirs as a birthright. Like children are born with that connection. They're so themselves, right? And here we are, we're growing up, and then we like kind of, if we choose choice, right? If we make that free will decision that we want that, to kind of try to get back to ourselves, right? Like who am I, and what do I really want, and what do I really feel about this, and what's my goal, what's my journey, what's my contribution to this planet, so many questions, and we only find them within ourselves, and that's where we kind of got disconnected from. And then it's kind of like, oh my God, can someone else tell me? So my work is not telling someone, my work is bringing them home to themselves. It's really coming home to yourself, so that you can feel and think as a whole, and find your way through.
Oh wow.
And live really you're amazing. We all have such amazing potential. Like I still believe in the good of people.
That's the truth. That's exactly awesome and amazing. Christina, listen, we're running out of time. So I just want you to give me a quick minute on just letting folks know how they can get in connection with you. What's the best way to reach you?
I'm on social media, on Instagram, for example, as New Decision Therapy. They find me there. Or also via email at info@newdecisiontherapynyc.com.
New Decision
Therapynyc.com. Yeah. Sorry, long name, not from me, but it brings it right home, right? It's making a new decision where in the past we took a decision to shut down. It's going back there, making a new decision to open up and go for it.
Nice. That's awesome. All right. So you can go to New Decision Therapy, which is on Instagram, or newdecisiontherapy.com, and get more information about what Christina does. Christina, thank you again so much for coming on. We are out of time, but we appreciate all of you who watch this program and who support us on Phoenix National Network. Don't forget to share with your friends. We are over 1,000 and some change downloads. We are really strongly approaching 2,000 downloads on our app. So help us get over 2,000 downloads. Greatly appreciate all of you. Take care, and see you again next Wednesday. See you, Oscar.
Thank you so much.
Bye.